And you're going to start hearing about it November 1st. It's blaring across the news waves. SNAP and EBT are going to shut off. There's going to be riots in the streets. Okay, let's just throw that narrative out there. But it's really about stricter work requirements to get people back to work instead of sponging, and also no more aliens getting free food. That's what it's really about. So let's take a look at it and see who's really going to be affected. Up to 42 million people. And the frosts are coming. So if you're growing your own, you're going to be out of luck. Going to start you off with some news articles. We're going to read through a few, but this is the obfuscation scatterwave pattern. They're throwing everything against the wall to try to confuse what the real issue is. Getting people back to work that are able-bodied and just sitting around collecting benefits. And that's really what it's about, stricter work requirements. But as we come into this government shutdown and insufficient funds here, if the government shutdown continues into November, which it may or may not, they're still going to be going back the next couple of times, at least 3 or 4 times over the next week to try to get it going. But it seems that there's some holdouts that don't want it for, well, the uniparty political reasons to disrupt. So the Agriculture Department warned all states, hey, by the way, the new strict requirements, work requirements, y'all states, you're going to have to pay more also for the benefits. Oh, you didn't hear about that. It's just about government shutting down. Nobody's going to have food money. So more than a dozen states. And I'm looking at this is just a splattered narrative. And you know, it is true. There's going to be some shutdown if it does. But is everybody going to starve to death across America? No. But that's what they're trying to build up in the mind is repeated and regurgitated headlines, same, but different. Staged perhaps to an event. Will we see it? Because when you see it regurgitated through the news, you know, does it ever come to fruition? Many times it does not. It's only when you hear about it once or twice and it disappears. Those are the ones you need to worry about. This thing is front and center. It's everywhere. It's a talking point. The USDA sent this letter out. And this is what this letter basically says is there's going to be insufficient funding and states are going to be more responsible. We'll catch up later on sometime in the future. So Radio Iowa, 131,000 Iowa households might not get SNAP benefits. Okay, here we go. Coloradoans lose SNAP benefits November 1st. If shutdown continues. You seen a pattern yet? Oh, Illinoisans could stop receiving SNAP benefits November. Here's what to know. It's very much the same exact images, almost identical. Pennsylvania SNAP benefits halted due to government shutdown. They actually stopped on the 16th. I got a little something for you here next. But are you noticing the way that this thing is being thrown out center stage? Now, if you're not on the program, you're not going to hear about this. But those 42 million people, you got to realize that's like 10% of America that requires food assistance, which is sad. It's sad that we're not teaching everybody how to grow their own food. We're not teaching everybody about community gardens. We're not teaching people and giving them plans like we did during World War II for victory gardens. So this shouldn't even be a thing to contend with, except the very poorest or the invalid or people who really can't take care of themselves. I mean, why are we not giving these programs? If you're going to take this, you need to get a class in gardening too. And if there's going to be subsidies, there need to be subsidies for tools, all these types of things, soil enhancements, fertilizers, whatever it is, so the home gardener can get it on and not have to worry about this. I'm shocked at the number of people. Oh, I'm not going to get my food assistance. I'm not going to be able to eat. Grow some food. And you should be growing anyway, because with the state of the economy right now, and like USDA talking about an enormous amount of shortages across the planet, but we're drowning in grain because everybody stopped buying our grain as punishment for what we've done with the dollar and weaponizing it. We're sitting on mountains of grain while the rest of the world's like going empty. Gold has gone mainstream. You're seeing it everywhere, and prices keep climbing. Every day, more and more Americans are catching on to the power of gold, but how do you actually take advantage of it? How do you invest in a way that's safe, simple, and built for the long run? That's where Noble Gold Investments comes in. Noble Gold's specialists are trained to help investors like you to go from confused to confident, from wondering what's next to knowing exactly what to do. Whether you're looking to roll over an old 401k into a gold IRA or want physical coins and bars delivered right to your home, Noble Gold makes that process simple, safe, and stress-free. You'll get step-by-step guidance, transparent pricing, and U.S.-based service team that's handled over $2.5 billion in precious metals transactions. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com to claim your free wealth protection kit today. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. And for a limited time only, a bonus for new qualified accounts, a 10-ounce silver American flag bar and a 1-ounce silver American Eagle proof coin. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Noble Gold, helping you build a stronger future. There is a mismatch everywhere right now. And if you can't see that, then you're not looking. And if you're just relying on government assistance, you can already see, whoa, that could be a problem. So this whole thing about if you're getting it, if you're not, what we should be thinking about is not pointing fingers, but talking about solutions. And growing our own food and having community gardens like we used to could very well be one of those solutions. Federal government shutdown update. Now, this is the 17th. So starting October 16th, day before that, SNAP benefits will not be paid until the federal government shutdown ends. That's in Pennsylvania. So we can get kind of a glimpse in Pennsylvania of what's going to occur across the nation. So right now, it's 2 to 3 days. I would give it 7 days before we start to see some, well, disruptions in society, if there were to be. And if this doesn't play out, and if there's not riots across Pennsylvania because people aren't getting their food assistance, then this is a hocus pocus talking point to get people riled up, the fear factor. I'd really like to see in the next 7 to 10 days what happens in Pennsylvania. Keep your eyes glued to that, because that truly is going to be the crystal ball for our nation here. So do whatever you can to help other people. I totally agree. Things are getting worse. No SNAP benefits, and food banks are already overextended. This food bank story is not anything new in any way, shape, or form. This is like riding on top of, like I say, a uniparty narrative talking point. The food banks were stretched since at least 2024. Food's getting expensive. If you haven't noticed, your food prices have doubled, tripled, quadrupled for some different items. And if it's on the luxury side and you're going into the olive oils and this sort of thing, you're looking at a 5X. Coffee's tripling. You look at some of these little extras, these comfort foods on the edge of the, getting a little more expensive. They're not going up a little bit. They're going up tremendously. So people were pulling back on donating to food banks. Anyway, this is not a new story. This is an ongoing, at least year and a half. So food banks have been really trying to drive and say, hey, give us more food. We need government. They need more money for government assistance to get food into the food bank to help people. And the amount of food, when they would give like 25 pounds for somebody to come in and pick up, now they're giving like 15 pounds of food. This is, I hate the way they're jamming these two together because they should be two separate issues. But of course, you got to slam it together. More bang for the buck, I guess. And Wall Street apes over on X, letters are being sent out from the USDA talking about pausing EBT and SNAP benefits beginning November 1st because of the shutdown. Now, do you think they'll be back open November 1st? Staffers in the DC, the whole DC crowd doesn't get paid. And they won't get paid in November if they don't solve this. So you got to think we're coming into holidays, Thanksgiving coming up. And you got the entire DC money machine out there. If they're not going to get paid and their staffers aren't going to get paid if they don't get this thing settled up, then the chickens come home to roost. You know what I mean? Like something's coming in there at that point. So you look at it and go, well, these people that are going to be playing the shenanigan games, they're not going to get paid themselves. Do you think they're going to solve it? Maybe, but I like Capricorn here. The 2013, put that in mind. October 15th, that's this year, 2025. Wind it back. Thank you, Capricorn, for putting this in. 2013 off the tweet here at that time. November 1st, if the government don't start back up, then food stamps gonna stop, I think. We're hearing the same exact thing. Food stamps are going to stop November 1st. The world's going to end. We're going to have riots everywhere. Again, what is the messaging? What's the messaging on this? Messaging is clear. And using food for one of these things, we got to control there's riots in the supermarkets. And I talked about this with Mike Adams a while back, saying that, the digital ID comes in with the rationing, with the food rationing. What if you have a digital rationing card? We talked about this many a time. There's going to be a point where food gets really expensive. It wasn't during COVID. You had to stand outside. But next time they're going to require, they're pushing the digital IDs. They want you to get it. You're going to have it. You're going to match it up. Oh, those bad people, they got two. They shouldn't have gotten two. How dare you take two? Oh, no, we need to make sure everybody gets exactly one. I call that communism. But somebody is throwing this as the valid question. Who do you think's buying this type of cart full of food? Valid question, because that is the most unhealthy, ridiculous cart that I have ever seen. Like, as a human, can you live on that? And I'm used to raising my own farm animals, you know, getting foods from the Amish, trading with others if we can't raise what we want in our gardens. Like, I eat healthy foods, try to. I mean, I'm not perfect, but that, I wouldn't even touch that. Maybe if I was really starving, I might, but man, Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, terrible. Oatmeal cream pies, who knows what's in that? I mean, how long can they stay on the shelf? Like, what was it? I remember when I was a kid, Twinkies. They're like, Twinkies the only thing that'll survive a nuclear war. And you know, like 200 years later, you could still eat a Twinkie after the nuclear war or something. But all those things in the plastic, terribly unhealthy. Were those microwave plastic? Like, microwave plastic? What? I look at that and just go, whoa, 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 whoa. There needs to be re-education, and I don't mean like re-education, but there's got to be something about, like, you need some vegetables in there for the human body to function correctly. Can you imagine how the mind is functioning on that cart, or like the body itself is functioning after ingesting all of that? Like the capability to function and solve problems and think coherently. Imagine the run up and down on the sugar crash on that stuff too. That is just, you know, you look at that and go, whoa. There should be limits perhaps to what you can purchase. Now imagine if they got this whole EUT SNAP system and all you could buy is bulk foods. We have to prepare your own things at home. Like, you can buy bulk oats, you could buy bulk beans, this sort of thing, and then you had to go home and prepare it yourself. I don't know, but perhaps that's it. But as I was saying, you know, this front is coming in and it's going to crush an enormous amount of home gardens. This is it. This is your last weeks here to do anything with the home gardens, because it's going to be frosted, frozen out here as we march through this polar front that's coming through, starting right now from like 18th, moving forward. Harvest what you got, because it's going to get destroyed out in the cold. Unless you can cover it up, protect it, and even if you have some sort of cover cloth on it, it's still, you got another week, and then it's going to get down in a hard freeze. We're going into hard freeze. Look how much of that is hard freeze across there, and even dipping down in here. I'm in that blue area in East Tennessee. We're going to get into the freezing. Like, a lot of people relying on the garden. We still got the okra growing out here. Got the beans. All the peppers are still going. We still got an enormous amount. Got pears on the trees. And I'm going to have to, crab apples are still out. Apples are still in the tree. We got to go pull it all out. All of it needs to come down. That's a lot of work to go and like harvest off of 120 fruit trees, the rest of what out there. Anything that, you know, there's a bunch of blueberries, wild blueberries, got to go pick all those. You just, you know, you got cases, and then how do you store it all? That's the whole thing, is if you're going to get all this produce and you're like wild foraging and growing your own, you got a huge amount, you have to store that. How do you take care of it? Because you can't just throw it and get it rotten after, you know, a week or so if you put it in a basket. But here's what this temperature difference is going to look like. Now, that very light pink in the center, that's like about 20 degrees Celsius below normal, which is about 30 Fahrenheit. So everywhere that line is coming this direction from west to east is absolutely going to just wipe out home gardeners in terms of what's out there. Your produce is going to get frozen on the vine, literally. So please go get it, stock that up. And the thing, okay, so that's all like subset A of things going on. Government shutdown. The states just keep regurgitating. It's like all, you know, not all 50 yet, but like 7 or 8 states are just saying copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. So, you know, some kind of like political action going on at the moment to try to get people aware, like taking our food away and make us starve, you know, be out on the streets. Okay. But what it's really about is this whole big, beautiful bill and how they've completely changed the way you're going to be able to access food in 2026 if you're on these same programs. So, you know, again, they're blending these two things together that need to be completely separate. Food banks need to be completely separate conversation. Home gardening to get people off where there's actually nutritious foods instead of food deserts. That should be a main talking point. How many food deserts are around in America? Sickening that there even is such a thing when we can grow our own. And nobody's helping talk about these points. Like, that's insane in itself. Why can't we get these programs where people can start growing massive amounts of food? Get off the supermarket chain. Get off these centralized dependency systems, including myself going to the supermarket. We've grown up for 50, 70 years. You got to go to the supermarket. You got to go to the store to get it. You can't make it on your own. You have to buy it from another centralized supply system controlled by a corporation with the bottom dollar and the shareholders to look at first. They're going to drive the prices up continuously as we get into this hyperinflationary event. If you haven't seen the price of gold and silver, different video, but that's an indication things are getting, well, let's say squirrely on the money. So President Trump's made it clear that American taxpayers will no longer subsidize illegals. Okay, this is the whole contention of it. And also that you are going to have to work if you want to get food assistance. I mean, if you really can't work and you need it, by all means. But the education needs to come along with it too, of how to grow our own foods, which is just, this is a dependency system that's set up for like generational dependency, because if you can't get people to, the whole gardening thing needs to be included in this. And I just cannot believe it's not, even in this day and age, that it's not included in this. There's an entire dependency system on the food when we don't need it. Americans grew 40% of everything they consumed during World War II with the Victory Gardens, 40%. Think about that. We would need 40% less supermarket. This is off the hill. So I linked a fair few articles below in the description box. Just click and go. You can check out the same resources I did to try to do the research for the video here. The mega bill, the big, beautiful bill. Yeah, the stablecoin issuance and the whole Genius Act. We won't go. That's already several videos ago. Passing a law. It's going to overhaul the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, known SNAP. So this is a huge overhaul here. They're going to cut $186 billion out of it, which means they're going after those who are abusing the system. Now, SNAP changes here could lose their benefits. This is not only in November in terms of like government funding, but in perpetuity, meaning forever. This system changes beginning now, forever, not coming back. So the big change, able-bodied adults without dependence. If you're an able-bodied like you, your arms, Laura, you could stand up, you're semi-cognitive, but I don't know how you could be with that cart full of just garbage, how you could even have cognitive ability after consuming all that just ridiculous chemical junk. Wow. You either going to have to work 80 hours a week or you're going to lose your benefits. And you have to prove that you're either in education, training programs to keep qualifying for that. But you have to do at least 80 hours a month to prove that. So break it down. That's 20 hours a week. That's a part-time job. So more changes to come. Other provisions of the big, beautiful bill. The states are going to be forced also to shoulder the cost of this. Used to be 50-50. Now it's going to be 75% dependency from the state, not the national government here. The corporation shall not pay. So the corporation in Washington is going to require the states to pick up 75%. So again, the states are going to make it more difficult as well on their own local programs. So this is just, it's squeezing everywhere you look. It's meant to cause social chaos. That's the whole thing. It's meant to. Look at it in a different fashion. It's not about, this party or that party or again, it's a uniparty. They need solutions, problem, reaction, solution. This is absolutely creating a problem, so there can absolutely be a solution. So here we go. October 16th, just got woken up by a source in the USDA telling me letters have gone out. SNAP benefits a thing if they do November 1st. And again, I think there's a high probability that the government's going to reopen and this will all be just pushed under the rug. But again, what does it do? It gets you to start thinking that everything with food cuts, now it's all bad. Expect riots to begin nationwide on the same day or shortly thereafter. That's why I was so focused on now Pennsylvania, because if this statement is true, and I can't attest whether it is, this is somebody's opinion. I would like to see what's happening in Pennsylvania and go from there. The letter points out that this is related to the ongoing uniparty shutdown. Considering the operational issues and constraints that exist in automated systems in the interest of preserving maximum flexibility, we are forced to direct states to hold their November issuance, meaning government shutdown, can't get you the money. You're not going to pay in November. Perhaps you can make it up and slam two payments together in December. But there are a handful of states that do bi-monthly at the and that's the payment. So November and December are wrapped into one package. So if they can't pay November, they're obviously not going to be able to pay December. And though that bi-monthly payment is, well, they're going to have to wait until January. There's going to be a contention in those states. So I encourage you to look up the list of them, and each state is a little bit different on that. But again, like driving through some of these different, expos, I was like, what? This person's complaining because their EBT assistance is getting cut from $2,800 per month down to $350. $2,800. That's what you're getting? And he's like, well, I don't want to work. I'm not going to go work and pay bills. I want to be home with my kids. Well, hell, man, I just want to work on my farm the whole time too. I don't want to sit in front of a computer and do videos. I just want to go hang out in nature all day. Play with my animals. I don't want to have to work, but I do. And he's complaining that $2,800, that's a lot for food. Are you kidding me? It's a lot. This woman's complaining that her food stamps will be cut from $1,700 to $120. Okay, she's got children. I could see why you'd be a little upset. But then my food stamps got cut. I can't buy pop, cereal, and chips. These kids are not going to be able to. You got to watch these things. At first, I thought it was a comedy skit. I really did. She's like, my kids aren't going to be able to eat chips because that's all they do is eat chips all day, man. They snack on the chips. How am I going to feed my kids? And I was like, no, this is a comedy skit, right? Wrong. It's not. It's just somebody grieving that they're going to lose all their benefits. So this is the state of the world we sit in the United States at this moment. We got gold and silver running to all-time highs, and it doesn't look like those are coming back anytime soon. Going to be getting an interview with Andy Schechtman here, pulling up somewhere after the 26th once he gets back from Aruba. Talking about the metals. What people are not talking about, speaking of food, and I'm trying to wrap these together, if the paper markets break on this gold and silver and there's non-delivery for some reason in London or anywhere else, the paper market, as you know, it is completely evaporating and prices are going to run. But that's the thing. It's not going to just stop at the metals. It is going to touch every single commodity that there is. And if you think food is, well, cheap now, it's going to find its real price. Now, remember, outside the rest of the world, they're lean on grains. We are just drowning in grains right now because nobody is buying from us. Everybody else is out searching the entire planet for the exact same thing we offer by millions of tons every year for export. But they're like, we're not taking any American grain. So with the behemoth that American production is offline, well, it's thin. And everybody's buying from everybody else. I mean, it's really down to just like carryover stocks are going to be near zero after all the purchasing this year. But we got, like I say, we got our silos exploding because there's too much grain in them. Yet the rest of the world's like clamoring and prices are going up. Now, this paper contract thing with the gold and silver going to be, once it breaks, the paper trades for corn and soy break too, and then they find the real price. So the hyperinflationary possibilities are real. I mean, in the next couple months, we'll see here. Apparently, there's only like 118 million ounces of silver left before they go down to non-delivery. Now, once that happens, it's not happened before. That's the whole thing. We're into something that has never happened before. Even if they call force majeure on that, say we can't deliver, just can't get the silver, whatever, the paper market is broken forever. It never comes, a Humpty Dumpty never comes back. That's the whole thing. Then commodities and real things we buy are going to find their real price because there's so many subsidies. I encourage you to watch this movie called King Corn, K-I-N-G Corn, about how much government subsidy there is for just an acre of corn to be grown in America. I was shocked. None of our farmers can make it without the massive subsidies. Now, if those subsidies stop, like these EBT payments stop, farmers are going to have to charge you about 3 times more for your food to make a break even on it. And that's going to run, and that's not going to stop. Fuels as well, biofuels. You kidding me? They can't produce that stuff without subsidies. So everywhere you look, where the subsidy machine exists in our food supply chain, all the way from the consumer here at the EBT SNAP level on that assistance, all the way to the farms, the farm programs, farm subsidy programs, all the way to ethanol and the biodiesel subsidies, all that whole chain is going to come unwound along with the metals. And then, you're already watching it go parabolic vertical. Something is very wrong. It just doesn't do. And every time they try to smash the price back down with all these fake paper contracts, boom, it just bounces right back up again. It's like Loch Ness Monster, dope the head and boom, right back up again. So many things are tremendously different at this point in history. So ask yourself, is this all being focused and used as an excuse for the next chess move? Is the question. And if it is, then what is that move? And can you front run it and kind of get around it in advance? Well, I do thank you for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. Please share with your friends and family. You're going to start hearing about this a lot in the next few days for sure. As it comes up, it's going to be a talking point of contention. They're going to be everywhere across the news, finger pointing everywhere. But just realize maybe it's the uniparty and they're using this as an excuse to move an agenda further down the next step. I'll see you next time. Please remember, share, subscribe, like, help that algorithm. We'll see what happens on November 1st. Bye for now.